According 1945, early in the morning, a small metallic point passes through the sky before disappearing. Without knowing this, the citizens of this city just witnessed the drop of the first atomic bomb. 200,000 people lost their lives during the bomb's explosion. Only 100,000 of Hiroshima's population survived, including 77,000 of their children, and the rest 20,000 who were not exposed to radiation. Studies show that women were more at risk of getting exposed to radiation than men. This is because the feminine skin is more sensitive, and more specifically, this happens to women because of irradiation of the breast and thyroid gland. According to ICANN.org, in Hiroshima, 19% of physicians and nurses were killed or injured. 42 of 45 hospitals were concluded non-functional, and 70% of victims had combined injuries, including, in most cases, severe burns. These stats are another proof of how powerful the nuclear force is and how damaging it can be, especially to innocent people who were trying to live a normal life outside the war. This bomb marked the end of the Second World War in the Pacific Ocean. It also marked the beginning of a race to nuclear power for many countries. Russia, who got her first drop test on 29th of August 1949, the UK on October 3, 1959, and France on 13th February 1960. In conclusion, the National Committee of the Red Cross in 1996, the International Court of Justice concluded that the use of nuclear weapons would be generally contrary to the principles and rules of IHL. While a number of international agreements to limit the development and proliferation of nuclear weapons were already in place, these weapons were only internationally prohibited in 2017 when the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons (TPNW) was adopted. According to UN.org, this is the first legal international agreement to comprehensively prohibit nuclear weapons. The signature of at least 50 countries are needed to come into effect, and by 23rd of January 2020, 35 have ratified the treaty. The treaty prohibits the development, testing, production, stockpiling, stationing, transfer, use, and threat of use of nuclear weapons, as well as assistance and encouragement to the prohibited activities for the countries that are part of it. In the vote on the treaty text, 122 were in favor, 1 voted against Netherlands, and 1 abstained Singapore. 69 nations did not vote, among them all the nuclear weapon states and all NATO members. North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which contains Albania, Belgium, Bulgaria, Canada, Croatia, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Montenegro, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Turkey, the UK, and the US, except for the Netherlands. In conclusion, I think that the drop of the atomic bomb had a lot of short and long-term effects. For example, the race for nuclear power that followed the end of the Second World War. At the time, having nuclear power meant to be a powerful country. Having nuclear bombs also worked as a shield for countries that had some, as if any other states, wanted to declare war for this reason, for whatever reason. They knew that they would hit back with atomic bombs, which could eventually eradicate the country itself. This was, I think, one of the reasons the Cold War between the USSR and the US with its allies. Because if one of those sides finally attacked the other side, it would have led to a third world war with an atomic bomb on both sides, which would have been devastating. So now, you may think that the invention of the atomic bomb was a huge mistake, but it is actually important to take into account that if Hiroshima hadn't been bombed, people wouldn't understand how powerful these kinds of weapons are. The Second World War wouldn't have ended, and chances are that people would use them more in the long run, causing more damage.